Oleanna, a novel of Norway in 1905, by Julie K. Rose. Chapter 1, Lake Jolster, Sunnfjord, Norway, May 1905. Oleanna Tollefsdatter Myklebost was beset by ghosts. Winter ice in her veins, chill and stiff, even during the long summer days of the midnight sun. Always winter with us, she thought. Severina, Anton, father, Mama, Anna, all gone. Everyone gone. And now John too. The waves of grief, held mostly at bay over the long, cold, dark winter by sheer will and the numbing properties of ice and hard work, threatened now to overcome her. She gritted her teeth and forced herself to press on. She had not ventured to their summer meadows and cabin, their ancient seder, since the previous autumn, when the skies were leaden and the winter only a breath away. Oleanna stepped onto the cabin's narrow wooden porch and stamped her feet, dislodging mud and chunks of ice and snow. She looked down into the deep valley, the lake sparkling and blue below. And next to it the farm, her home, a brush of green and brown on the southern bank, nearly lost among the newly verdant fields and dark evergreens, visible only if you were searching for it. The tiny farm clinging to the side of the mountain, scrabbling away from the cold lake, was surrounded by towering dark pine trees and tall, graceful birches. And though there were farms dotting the shoreline all around the long, thin lake, none were as old as the Myklebost farm. The storehouse and the farmhouse, the barn and the fields, all were touched by the dusty hand of age, despite the bright flowers spilling from the window boxes during the long days of the short summer. The crops came in well enough, against all odds, in the small, rocky plot just beyond the storehouse. No rambling split-rail fences were necessary to mark their land. Everyone, even their animals, knew their lives were bounded by the dark trees and the deep, cold lake. "Who's there?" a voice called from within the cabin. Oleanna sighed, then pushed open the door and leaned against the doorframe. After a few moments, she said, "So, this is where you're hiding." "Go away," the voice creaked, its owner buried under the covers piled high on the bed. Oleanna set her pack down on the clean pine floor. "Why can't I get a moment's peace?" she muttered, shutting the door. Her sister Elisabeth shifted under the covers. "What are you doing here?" "Making sure it's ready for the summer." "John's already done that." "Oh." Oleanna hesitated, looking around the small cabin. "It's cold now," Elisabeth said. "You've brought in all the ice." Oleanna scowled and turned to tend the fire, bending down and warming her hands. "How long are you going to stay up here?" she asked, pulling a hewn chair to the fireside. "I don't know." Oleanna could hear Elisabeth shifting around in the bed behind her. "Hiding up here like a child isn't going to make John change his mind," Oleanna said, pulling off her boots and socks. "You can't stay up here forever." "Of course I can." "I can't run the farm by myself. We'll starve." Oleanna warmed her tingling toes at the fire and, after a few moments, looked over at Elisabeth, who had thrown off the covers and was sitting up, resting her chin in her hands. "I can't do it," Elisabeth whispered. Oleanna walked over and stood next to the bed. "Of course you—" "I don't want to do it." "You have 10 generations of Jolster farm blood running through your veins. Don't be an ass." "Mama wouldn't—" "Don't talk about her," Oleanna said. She glanced around the cabin and shivered. "I'll talk about her if I damn well please." Oleanna shuddered. "Stop it." Elisabeth sprang forward and grabbed her sister's wrist. "You're not the only one who misses her," she hissed. "You're not the only one who's lonely. Stop being so selfish." She squeezed Oleanna's wrist and then shoved her away. Scowling and rubbing her wrist, Oleanna retreated to the fireside. Elisabeth crossed her arms and glared, imperious as a queen. Finally, with some effort, Oleanna said, "I need your help." Elisabeth threw herself back on the bed, covering her eyes with her arm. "John's a bastard," she muttered finally. "Don't blame him. You'd do the same if you could." Oleanna looked out the window of the cabin toward the far mountains and the deep waters of the Sunnfjord. "So would I." Elisabeth huffed and pulled the covers over her face. Oleanna watched the outline of her sister for a few moments, until a long list of chores wailed in her brain like an insistent toddler. She pulled on her still damp socks and boots, then paused at the door. "I'm not going to take care of Torius all day and all night again," she said, pulling open the door. A rush of chill spring air filled the room. "Stop pouting, come home, and look after your son." "I'm not pouting." "Just come home," Oleanna sighed. She stepped out onto the cabin's small porch and pulled the door closed behind her. The lake sparkled in the midday sunshine. Fragrant pine trees swayed in the breeze. High clouds scudded across a pale blue sky, and intrepid wildflowers poked their heads out of the grass near the protected cabin wall. But Oleanna noticed only the squelching coldness in her boots and the ache of her shoulders and heart. "John is a bastard," Oleanna whispered.